let's get started talking about a lot of different things. I do want to note that the most recent information for Yamhill County is that we had a 57% increase in cases week over week from Friday to Saturday, Friday to Saturday. But then what we've also seen, we had 31 new cases come in from Monday to Tuesday. That doesn't include the previous 57%. So 31 cases in one day is on par with our 10% highest number of days at the peak of the pandemic. And what that looks like in Yamhill County right now is 81% of people are unvaccinated who are getting COVID, who are getting positive COVID test returns. That also means that there's 19% of folks who are fully vaccinated who are also getting COVID. So this is something that there's been rhetoric out there of a pandemic of the unvaccinated, but I just want to let folks know that with the increase in the Delta variant, we really are seeing folks who are fully vaccinated also getting the virus. And in local, when the executive order and public health emergency was lifted by Governor about a month ago, her intent was to allow local public health authorities to make their own decisions around it. Mask mandates, restrictions, all of that was ceded to the public level. My understanding is that the governor is planning to address this tomorrow, I think, with Oregon Health Authority. But we will see what that looks like, and we'll see if there is any consideration of either restrictions or mask mandates coming back. But from yesterday to today, there's that 31 new cases for Yamhill County, but there were over 1,000 new cases statewide, and we'd had less than 100 in previous weeks or previous days. So all that to say, we are back in COVID land, and I know it looks different, but it's also still with us here. So I wanted to let folks know about that, but I also called us together so that we could talk about the heat wave that's coming. Now, the next heat wave that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is not as extreme in its forecast as the previous week or the last one, but it did seem important to consider whether to start and open cooling shelters. And so I want to pass it off now to Howie Harkema, because Howie's been the leader in the past on mobilizing folks. Don Watson is very, very instrumental, and Courtney Terry has been really awesome as well on making sure that people have safe spaces. So with that, Howie, Don, Terry, Courtney, what are the plans now, and how can people help you is really the important thing.
First of all, yeah, it's Wednesday is supposed to be 95, and we can't coordinate fast enough to take care of that problem.
Yeah.
But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we can take care of. First Baptist joined us this morning. I've reached out to all of the partners across Yamhill County, including Brian Young, to make sure that we can get a cooling center in every community that needs one as quickly as possible. Of course, we will create flyers. I've also reached out to the Chamber of Commerce here in McMinnville, and Joy is going to put the word out so that Encompass doesn't have to use its funding for Gatorade and water and the flyers. They're even going to print the flyers for us. As soon as we have our Zoom meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we will start working on the English flyers immediately, using the other flyer from the past heat wave, and take out what we need to take out and add what we need to put in. And then I will send it to you, Casey, and then you can get it to Miriam and get the Spanish version. And Chamber has volunteered to also print these flyers, so it doesn't cost Encompass a couple $100 to do that. So all things are in motion, and we're certainly hoping that the kind of sharing that went on Facebook when I start putting these flyers out will also reoccur to let everyone know where the locations are so we can keep our people safe. That's what I know today. Tomorrow will be different.
That sounds great. And I'm gonna ask Courtney, and then I'm gonna ask Dawn if they want to add anything more, and then I'll come back, Howie. That sounds good. Courtney, on behalf of the library or in your role as a member, a really, really dedicated member of the community.
So the library will be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 11 to 6, and I can, we have a water, let's see, we have a drinking fountain, but I can make sure that we have vessels for folks, so they can get water here, but then otherwise I'll just put out extra chairs and have extra chairs around the building. So we haven't been policing people's time in the library very much, so it won't be a problem if somebody needs to come and stay for a while. So that can be what we'll do. And then I will reach out I'll call the American Legion in Sheridan had said that the last time when we had this, they were going to work on having a more dedicated. So I will get in touch with them this afternoon and just see if they could potentially have a space in Sheridan. And then I know Marion Lucas is applying for a grant so that the community center in Willamina can be a shelter. But I'm also, just kind of thinking of places, maybe reaching out to the Willamina Chamber of Commerce or the Kenna about, I never heard back from the VFW Hall, or even if like Coyote Joe's, if they could, it's hard because they're businesses, but if they could, set aside seats or something. But, and I've checked in with Marion and Sarah, but I haven't heard back about whether or not they'll, I assume they'll try and get the coolers of water out again. But that's where I'm at, and I'm going to help somebody real quick.
That sounds great. Thanks, Courtney. And then Dawn.
So I haven't heard from Pastor Erica and Jeff what they promised Howie. I'm looking at two different weather apps, folks. Saturday, well, I take the Salem Statesman in a digital form, and they're saying 95 in Salem on Saturday, where my weather app says 91 in McMinnville. So that brings me to the question. I've had people in the community ask me, what are the guidelines? When do you make this decision? And Thursday and Friday for sure are going to be either close to 100 or over 100. So Howie, what is your thinking on what the guidelines are? And you're muted.
Dawn, after speaking with Brian Young this morning and Casey's email about OSHA, we came up with a 95 or over for our threshold beginning. And the Weather Channel is showing 103 in McMinnville on Saturday. So I'm unsure, and we can never be sure exactly to the degree. But it's hot enough to open the shelters Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then it goes down to 89 on Sunday. So,
well, I use mostly the Weather Channel, and they have lowered Saturday because of cloud cover down to 91. But
that's a positive
again,
thing.
we never know. We just never know.
Yeah.
and it may change again.
Sure, it will change again.
So Don, you're waiting to hear, but you're hopeful that that First Baptist in McMinnville will be open. Yeah.
Well, if Howie spoke with Erica this morning, then
I spoke with Jeff, and Jeff said that he was going to get a hold of Erica immediately and let her know. He said, move forward, just keep going. And so I have to go by that.
Great.
So did they talk anything about time? One of the reasons I'm asking is that we have a Vacation Bible School until 12 o'clock that's using the parking lot entrance to where folks, and so I would guess that we probably would not be open until at least noon.
Yeah, I would think that it's about the same time that we were doing it before.
Mhm.
I believe that was either noon or 1 o'clock at First Baptist.
We were noon to 9 last time.
So it could be 1 to 9 if we need be.
And then some of the things that we learned in the last one a month ago was that people really didn't want to abandon their pets, understandably. Do we have, and there was conversations about getting pet crates. Do folks have a sense of where we might be getting those? Or is it just too soon after?
Well, there's
We
a
have
couple-
one. We have
Go
one
ahead.
at First Baptist, a smaller one, and donated by Ty James. And she said, "Yeah," she says, "I have a couple of other ones that if you need them, let me know." So, and someone told me that Homeward Bound was offering a few this past week. I don't know if that's true or not.
I
I will check in with Ronnie at Homeward Bound.
And there were a couple of other people that were in on the debrief meeting that said that they would donate crates as well. And I believe Carrie Martin has that information, so I'll be touching bases with her.
Fantastic. And so what we need to know then is if there's going to be a spot in Newburgh and then in some of the other smaller cities too. Okay.
I have reached out to Newburgh, to the Newburgh Emergency Shelter, to Elise Yarnell, Rick Rogers, and Dan Weinheimer.
Dan Weinheimer. Yeah. Okay, great. So we'll follow up on that. Howie, were there any other lessons that we learned from the first round that we have time to change now?
Yeah,
I know that Courtney mentioned that the water and Gatorade at the library in Willamina was a big success.
Yeah, there's a lot we learned from the very first go round. We learned that even though we're adding all of these cooling shelters, not all of them were utilized. We did have 125 known people that utilized the centers across Yamhill County during the first go round.
Okay.
Things that we did learn that were important was not everybody has air conditioning. And I think that one of the factors here is just possibly getting some grant money for the emergency shelters to have cooling implementation mechanics. And that also includes the West Valley, as Courtney's very aware of, due to the fact that one of the players over there, the first go round, said that the room that they were possibly going to use was too hot for them to utilize. That's a big factor in the West Valley. Secondly, the things that we learned were that not everybody's going to come in. That's just a known fact now. They at First Baptist had a couple of emergency situations with people overheated, and I hope that we've learned from that what to utilize and how to do it, how to fix that problem quickly. Above and beyond that, I can't think of anything else that was super major that we weren't able to take care of the first go round.
Okay. And then I just wanted to note that what we saw at the state level is that a lot of the folks who died as a result of the heat were older and were alone when they died and did not have an air conditioning or a fan. I'm wondering, and I feel like Courtney would probably knows how to do this better than all of us, but ideas on how to actually connect folks who are alone with resources, whether it's just somebody coming and bringing them cold water or getting them a ride.
Well, and I think a lot of those folks do come down, well, and especially in Willamina, Wednesdays is when they do the food distribution. And so I know a lot of folks will come down to our civic center there and are checking in. So it's a quick turnaround, but we're used to that. But I mean, being able to get that, having some information we can give to, it's Leah Capps and I think Katie Vinton Kendall are both doing a lot of work for that. So that would be, in terms of like just getting the word out and making sure connecting with people.
Right. I think it's really important for people to know, like, this is for them. Right? It's not for somebody else. That when there's spaces that are open, it's not for like, oh, that person needs it more than me. It's like, it's for everyone.
No, if you don't have air conditioning and please go use someone else's air conditioning.
It's for you. Yeah. Don, do you have any suggestions or thoughts on how to, on how to connect with these folks who might be out on their own, either alone and not having AC? But then Howie has some thoughts as well.
You go first, Howie.
Okay, I believe that Brian Young is reaching out to Northwest Senior and Disability Services once again to make sure that the people that typically go out, make sure that the people that are closed in like that, Casey, have adequate cooling and water and the things that are necessary for them to survive the heat waves.
Okay, great. Then Don, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, just two quick ones. One, I did 2 different shifts last go around, and in our situation, not all of our guests were part of the unhoused crowd. We did have a few children on day 2, particularly. We had several pets coming in. I'm going to chat with Jeff. Last time around, we didn't require them to be in a cage, and that's a kind of a tough call. And then on the 3rd day, we had pretty much run out of all that wonderful food that had been donated, and we scrounged around the best we could to find something. So I haven't had a chance to talk with Jeff as to what his thoughts are on that. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, this is, I feel like, a situation where people need to know that the spaces are for them. It's for anybody who feels hot, right? Howie, do you have ideas on how folks who maybe are in a camp or like are camping in the woods or under a bridge, how they can handle this when they have all their possessions that they may have to leave? Because I know that I heard that some folks were like, I can't come in because I have my stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they're afraid of losing their stuff, and I understand that. Unfortunately, there's only so much space in the locker systems that were created back when that are at First Baptist parking lot and Cooperative Ministries parking lot for stashing their stuff. There are 20 or so bike pods people are utilizing for carrying their stuff. That's a big help. But you're right, Casey. A lot of people can't or won't come in because they're afraid that their stuff will be gone when they go back. Mm-hmm. And so I know First Baptist lets them bring their stuff in.
Okay, that's really good to know.
And Howie, I'll check with Mike Bird, but it's possible we may have 2 or 3 lockers that aren't currently being used. So if you were to find someone who said, yeah, I would really like to store my stuff away, I'll have to check and see.
I'll do some checking too, Don. Once I hear back from you, if that's absolutely the way it is, there may be 2 or 3 people that would love to come in if they had a place to store their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be really good to know. Thank you very much for that. And then Howie, all of this costs money. How do we, first, how can somebody help? And 2, if they want to donate either money or water or ice, how do they do that?
Yeah, I think when I create the new flyers, I'm going to give my email address and a phone number. And then if people want to donate, they can donate to Encompass. We can put it in the bank. We can use the funds for that. That happened last time on the Gatorade as well. An outside person donated money to do that. Above and beyond that, each of the facilities, whether it be First Baptist or Newburgh Emergency Center or Yamhill County Gospel Rescue Mission, all have different needs. And so coordinating with them tomorrow at the Zoom meeting will tell us more about what their needs are going to be, whether it be food, Gatorade, water, other essentials. So tomorrow's meeting will help create that.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Howie. And then you will let us all know about how folks can help in terms of being present at cooling centers, for example, as volunteer staff.
Right.
And will there be a way to sign up if people are interested and are watching right now?
Well, I know that Jeff at First Baptist is probably already in gear trying to find volunteers for their facility for the 3 days. As far as Newburgh, I haven't heard back yet, other than from Rick Rogers, the mayor, that he's sending Dan tomorrow to be on the Zoom, so that if the emergency shelter in Newburgh is in need of volunteers or something else, that we can all work together to make that happen, just like last time.
Okay, that sounds good. This is, we already had a disaster heat wave, and people around Oregon. I mean, this is, as far as I understand, the heat storm, as I called it, was the largest natural disaster in terms of fatalities in Oregon ever. And we didn't have anybody die, as far as I know, in Yamhill County or a resident. And that's the barest, lowest bar. Like, we need to make sure that people are thriving. But I really appreciate all of your efforts to make sure that this, again, that it doesn't happen. So anything we can do out in the community, please let us know.
As far as I know, the last number that I heard across Oregon was 116 deaths.
Yep.
From the last heat storm. And,
right.
And I know for sure that we didn't have any deaths from exposure in Yamhill County. We did have 2 deaths from drownings, unfortunately.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good point. And I do know that public health officials around Oregon have emphasized over and over again that heat-related deaths are preventable, right? Heat-related deaths are preventable. So we're doing what we can here. Really thank you, all 3 of you, so much for your work to make sure people are safe. I want to make sure that Luke Harkins, on behalf of Representative Gomberg, has an opportunity to join in the conversation. But I wanted to make sure that we got out the start of this next conversation. So thank you very much for that. Luke Harkins, on behalf of Representative Gomberg, is there anything you would like to add? Would you like to provide any updates on legislation and its impacts on Yamhill County and Gomberg's district? The floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks. So I don't have too many updates right now, but my main thing was I really wanted to hear about, the cooling centers, and I was kind of just listening in on that, and yeah, because we've got some constituents calling in Lincoln County that are experiencing, similar issues, lack of AC, lack of knowledge of even where to go for a cooling center. So, I just popped on the phone with Jim Austin. I don't know if any of you know him, but he's also with the office, and And yeah, we're kind of thinking of ways we could leverage maybe our newsletter and see if we can have that, be a way to disseminate information for cooling centers. But yeah, I guess the question is, do we have counterparts like yourselves in Tillamook County, in Lincoln County? And that's where we need to start doing some groundwork and figuring out, yeah, who can we refer people to essentially? So I don't know if you have any ideas on that.
Yeah, Luke, I think it's really important that Representative Gomberg uses newsletter and his platform to give people resources, give them that information. Howie and crew put together a flyer the last time around. We got it. I mean, it was slow to get it out just because the timing was so short, but in both English and Spanish. And then Congresswoman Bonamici sent that document out to all of the people that she has contact with, and that was very helpful in getting the information out. But in Lincoln and Tillamook counties, I'll also do a little bit of I'll do my own connections too, because it would be important for you all to be able to promote that. I think
That'd be super
and
helpful.
have an answer when people reach out to you, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the question right now. I mean, it's a big issue, and I know especially when you get close to the coast where temperatures aren't going to be quite as high, and so it's not quite as big of an issue. Say like Lincoln City, but I just want to make sure we're prepared for a lot of the a lot of more rural areas getting a little closer to the valley. I think that's where we're going to see some big issues. So.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I will say that my parents live in Taft and in Lincoln City, and it was 92 inside of their house on the hottest day because the homes are not built for sun, right, and for heat. My parents built their house in 1970s to gain the solar radiation. Yeah, so it's definitely, but I appreciate your concern there, and I'll make sure that we connect. Howie, I will make sure that you get the information from Howie when I'm sending it to Congresswoman Bonamici's office, but I'll reach out to folks in Lincoln and Tillamook County and see if we can do something there too.
Oh, thank you so much. That'd be super helpful.
Awesome, thank you. Is there anything you want to share from the legislative session? I know that Representative Gomberg had mentioned the funding and the timing of the funding coming into the Career and Technical Education Center proposed for Sheridan. Is there anything else specific to the district?
So I don't know if there's been any new updates on the CTEC funding. I don't know. The last timeline I heard was around October would be when we'd start seeing dispersal, but I can't speak with too much authority on this. I don't want to be giving you guys any misinformation. I'm still the junior staffer, so.
Totally, but it's good to have you with us. That we can learn about who all these folks are around here.
Yeah, I figured it'd be a good opportunity. So. Yeah,
definitely. And Representative Gomberg has been so diligent about attending, except during session, which is very understandable.
Yeah, and we just he would have loved to attend today, but had a meeting with OCCC Foundation and just overlap with this, and so figured I'd sit in and gather all the information I could. So. Well,
that sounds great. Thank you for joining us. And I apologize to Brennan from the McMinnville community, or to McMinnville Co-op Church. He's been sitting in the audience, and I'm going to promote him. We can bring him on. So patience, everybody. I don't actually know how long he was waiting. Maybe he'll come on. Sometimes it feels like a mystery as to how we get folks to be promoted. Okay, and so Howie, you're going to have your meeting tomorrow. We'll have more details. Is there anything more that we need to, while Brennan is not joining us for some reason, based upon my own technological competency, anything more that folks need to know before tomorrow?
Well, they can donate water, Gatorade, food, that type of stuff to the emergency shelters. We know that for a fact. I hope some of the businesses jump in and do that as well. And I know that the chamber is going to beseech their members to do such. Um, um, Other things that can be done is if you see somebody on the streets and they look like they're going to pass out, please tell them where the emergency centers are, because not everyone is aware. When we do these quick time openings, not everyone finds out. So please spread the word.
Great, Howie. That is super helpful. And we have Brendan with us, and I believe he can talk. Brendan, we've been going over some of the initial details and lessons learned from the past heat wave. Do you have anything you would like to add on behalf of the co-op?
Oh, thanks. Actually, no, not at this time. I will be checking in with our kind of lead person on this, and I'm sure she'll have more information as things develop. So thanks. Sorry, I think I missed the earlier prompt.
Oh, there was so much going on. So no worries. And tomorrow, Howie will be leading a conversation among like cooling shelters providers, those folks. So
Great.
I do know, going back to Howie's comments about if you see somebody, let them know where they can go. I know that in the city of Portland, a lot of folks were just driving around with cold water and looking for people who looked like they needed it. So it's a simple thing that we can do, is to just keep an eye on our neighbors and the people in our community.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that we will take this conversation up again next week, tomorrow. And in the meantime, we will work on those lessons learned and make sure that we have pet crates, make sure that people know in the community through Northwest Senior and Disability Services. And we will get through this hot weather again.
Thank you, Casey.
Any last thoughts?
Thank you.
All right, well, we'll see you tomorrow. And folks out there, if you need something, check in. We'll make sure that the resource flyers are out there. And if you want to donate or if you want to contribute time, reach out to Howie. I'm sure that you'll be able to find the information, and I'll make sure that you have it available. So we will see you, and be safe and stay cool.